Hello everybody, this is Dell. I don't make too many videos, but I thought I'd show you some play footage of Baylor Mage's autobombing build. There are not too many people playing it. I just have up here in solo self-found, I think there's only 12 people playing it. And in Affliction, there are currently, I think it was 71 last I checked, 74 people playing it. There's only currently one level 100. It's a very niche build. Not very many people know about it, but it's very fun to play. I played RF last league, and Pox is doing his best, but RF just isn't how it was before. And I'm having a lot of fun playing this because it has the lazy RF feel, but still has very good mapping speed, I've been finding. It can run T16s no problems. Probably not your league starter because it is very dependent on this unique right here, and I'll go into that a little bit. I'll quickly explain how it works. Long story short, this build is only available on 3.23, largely because you need this phantom right here. They have this only line called reforms after being killed. After a second after they die, they respawn themselves, and they are very good because of that. Because of that, we put in our Burning Legion support, and they respawn. You'll see in a second here. I'm just going to turn them off so the sounds don't annoy you guys right now. So this build, still a work in progress. I still have, I definitely need to work on my clusters a bit, but I think I'm pretty good with most every other things. Minion instability is the most of the damage. You can see we do 33% of their life when they die damage. So that means I scale hugely on life. And because of that, I invested a few div into this Elegant Hubris node that have 3 different 80% minion maximum life, which was a huge damage boost. Anyone plays this build, I highly recommend at least 2. There's a compiler thing that will tell you which coins you need from which person. I highly recommend using it. I have actually anointed this one here because there's not really too much I can use my anoint for. A lot of people are anointing this node right here, Death Attunement, which gives you another Spectre. Really important for this build. I'd say required node. A lot of people are anointing it, but I found coming here to be fine because I'm only going 1 travel node, and these 3 12% maximum life nodes are very relevant. Another thing I have done, this is very common for people playing this build, is they use the Fortress Covenant jewel, not because of the minion damage, which most people use it for, but your minions take more damage. So I have 5 nodes of minions taking increased damage, which means they explode more often. The last important thing is these cluster jewels. Most importantly, the medium one. I actually really need to upgrade this one of 6 because they also have maximum life nodes. The big thing to talk about this one is this life from death node. I'm just going to refund it real quick to show you why it is important. So, if I didn't have this in, you'll notice they would all die at the exact same time. Not really good for mapping because you kind of want them constantly killing things, not all at the same time. So with this point, when one dies, they kind of heal each other just a little bit, and after a few seconds, they will have a huge spread, and you'll always have 3 or 4 up at a time. Gem-wise, there's a lot of customization you can do. You pretty much need the 6 leak chest pretty much the same, with Raised Spectre, Combustion Support, Minion Life, Awakened Fire Pen's really good. Feeding Frenzy, you can get away with getting minions as aggressive on Wand, but you also need to have +1 spell and +1 minion. And a wand like that's like 80 divine, so it is really expensive. So for that reason, most people will be using the Feeding Frenzy support. I just for fun put the Cast on Death portal. I have extra gem slots. I can do whatever I want with it. Just like a lot of people use combustion support with their Arcanist Man, I and a lot of people didn't have room for what was it called? Faster casting support. There's a lot of customizations you can make to the build to play the way you like. I like the faster customization because a large portion of my defense is just literally not getting hit. I will show you some gameplay footage after I'm done explaining the build, and pretty much I just run through and do nothing. Well, my minions constantly kill them, and they clear fast. Back onto the talent tree. Most of this is pretty standard. Most necromancers can convert to running this build about level 40. There was a good wand that was good for leveling that gave +1 amount to specters. That was good until you can get your level 25 specter gem. Not the best wand for long term because you can't use the trigger, which almost all necros use for their bone offering desecrate combo. And it also has a 30% life reservation, which was hurting, but for leveling, worked fine. This helm right here is probably the most important part for the +2 socketed gems, and you cannot have non-specter minions, which is fine. That's how this build works. There are a couple people I was looking at who are using a golem version of this, where the golems respawn with the new multi-golem things. We'll see how that looks, but it looks like there's only 2 or 3 people running at this moment, and I'm not too confident about it, but we'll see. Another important unique is this belt right here. Some people are using it as a static. I personally like it because when my minions die, they leave behind a nice little flame field just for the constant damage, and it's another 20% of damage. And also it's helpful for if you're doing a boss or something and things are spawning in. If it's not the tick that the minion explodes, sometimes just the fire itself will kill it, and they don't actually have to be there. And like I said, 20% damage boost. There's probably other things some people are doing with this, but it's working for me. The last interesting choice I have made is the Jinx Juju. The reason being is I use a lot of curses for my boss damage with the Arcanus Band, just because I'm trying to make this build super simple and easy. You don't have to do that. Like I said, customizationable. And I have the additional curse corruption on it, so that way I can use both flammability and elemental weakness. This is probably one of the most questionable upgrades. There's only this was a 4 or 5 div, and there's only a few on the market. If this build catches on, I expect this item will skyrocket. So now I'm going to go into some gameplay of me playing this here. Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to do a voiceover for this next part. I found playing while talking much more difficult than it looks. All you content creator, you guys make it look easy. Thank you for it. Going on to the content creators, I just wanted to speak a little bit about why I decided to make this video. Baylor Mage, he explains this build, the base idea of this build, much better than I did. And like I said, if you've not seen his video, go do look at it. However, I did feel that there could be a few changes. In his video, he did mention he was doing it for his private league, so they did not have access to trade league stuff. And I just felt that there's a lot of things I could do that would make the game more better for a trade environment. He did show a kind of dream build, and while I did think that's good, I also don't think that was kind of a build that an average person could expect to get. So I kind of wanted to do something for about 20 div, roughly. I know I'm a bit over that, but there's a lot of side grades you could take, and don't spoil as much on it. There are many different ways you can build this. One very common thing that most people are using is the replica Dragon Fang with the +3 specters. I originally couldn't find one at the time, but I'm glad I didn't do it. I found that having that amulet slot open has kind of made my build more customizable, and allowing me to put that second curse in it has helped me fix one of my weaknesses in the build, which is direct boss damage. I currently use the Arcanus Band, but I might actually remove it because sometimes I find it just doesn't stick the best with things dying too quickly, so I might switch that to manually casting. However, I wanted to leave it in this build so that way people who choose to have the more lazy setup are capable of doing so. One thing I should mention that as soon as I get out of the forest, you will not see me looting. That's because no one wants to see someone loot all day, and I will be looting after the video. So if you see some shiny things drop, do not worry about it. I do come back in return for everything. That's a value. This build kind of feels very similar to how RF used to be last season. I did play Pox as RF last season and rather enjoyed it. However, with the changes, I thought just trying something different this season would be good. I know RF is not in a horrible state, but this is my take on it. And since this build is only going to be possible in 3.23, if this is something you want to try, I would suggest doing it this build because we do not know if the marionettes are returning in later seasons. You can also use this build to run pretty much any map mods. Reflects don't really affect you because you don't do it, and your marionettes attacking stuff just gets them killed quicker and actually increases your damage. So any junk maps, send them to these characters. Great way to use them up. Another common difference that a lot of people did from my version is using a Watcher's Eye. Almost everyone uses the one with haste giving phasing, and that is definitely something that is really helpful for this build. I prefer just to focus on the damage because my mitigation is them just melting instantly. I do die later on in this video. It was mostly my fault. I just kind of ran into where one of the Legion monsters were attacking and not doing my normal circle pattern around stuff, which is my fault. But with that, I'm going to say it is December 24th as of time of recording. I wish everyone a happy holidays. I'm just going to let the remainder of the video play on its own. Let me know what you do with this build. I would love to see other people's takes or even suggestions of how I can improve it. I am still relatively new to the game and there's very little information on this build, and a lot of it, this is my first time exploring and doing stuff on my own. So I'd love to see other people's takes on it or suggestions. Like, this was very smooth playing and I wish everyone the best.
for you.